What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 envelopes that I just recently got back through the mail. So let me open the first one here and we'll get right to it. Alright, this first one is postmarked from Indiana. And it is former Montreal Expo, Indiana State Sycamore, Wallace Johnson on 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Wallace Johnson, very cool. Never gotten his autograph before, back through the mail. So very happy to do so. Wallace was born on Christmas. I just happened to pull his page up and his birthday was on Christmas, so that's pretty cool. He was a switch hitting first baseman that actually had a unique skill. He was a very fast runner. So known for his speediness, I guess, on the base paths. He was drafted in 1979 in the 6th round by the Expos, and he actually led the Florida State League with stolen bases in 1980, the following year. He spent 81 in Denver, and they won a championship that year, AAA championship. He made his major league debut in 1981. He spent 81 to 83 with the Expos, and then during the season he was actually traded to the San Francisco Giants to finish out the 83 season. He was let go by the Giants after the season and returned to the Montreal Expos. So he had a opportunity to play for the Expos twice, I guess you would call it. Even though the majority of his career was with Montreal, he did play technically for about half a season with the Giants. So collegiately, we talked about that. He's an Indiana State University graduate. Says he has a degree in accounting, which is pretty cool. He spent all the way through 1990 with the Expos. He's more well known as a pinch hitter. He never really was the starting guy on the team. The Expos, if you recall, back in that era, had Andres Galarraga on first base, but he was well known for his pinch hitting abilities. He was a switch hitter, so a very useful bat off the bench, so to speak. Could hit the ball really well. I would compare him very similar to like a Gerald Perry type of guy. You know, just one of those guys that you could bring off the bench. He could fill in to play first base for you on to give the first baseman a day off or whatever. So very, very good. After his playing career, he spent some time coaching in the minor leagues, a little bit for the Expos and the Braves systems through 1997. He also spent time with the Chicago White Sox as a coach. It was at that time that Ken the Hawk Harrelson gave him the nickname Wavin' Wally while he was with the White Sox. Says his coaching career included instructing 2 Hall of Famers, Frank Thomas and Vlad Guerrero. So obviously he coached with the Expos as well after the fact. But a lifetime 255 hitter, not a big home run threat. He only had 5 career home runs. But again, one of those good utility, type of guys, good bat to come off the bench. Also could steal a base for you in the early part of his career at least. So I'd never gotten Mr. Johnson back before. He's got tons of cards out during the era. So you can definitely obtain them pretty cheap. So thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, this next one is postmarked from Florida. Yeah, oh, yeah, okay. This is a real good one. And this is Mr. Manny Trillo on 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is pretty cool. This card right here this is a record breaker, and I don't know if this record's been broken since, but he broke it at the time. Manny was the starting second baseman in 2 consecutive All-Star games in each league, which is pretty neat. You know, in 1982, he was in the All-Star game as a Philly. Then in 1983, he was in the All-Star game as an Indian. So a pretty unique card celebrating that. I really love the early to mid 80s record breaker cards. I always thought that was very unique. You know, I remember trying to collect, especially the Topps ones when I was a kid, thinking that they were just so cool, you know, pulling the record breaker cards out of a pack. You know, and it's just awesome to see some of those cards if you go back and look at them. And this is definitely a unique one. So tell me what you guys think. Do you guys like the record breaker cards too? Because I really have an affinity for these for some reason. So anyways, Manny Trillo, very good baseball player. 17-year major league career for Manny Trillo. 17 seasons. That is crazy. He won, let's see, Venezuela is where he was from. He won 2 World Series. He was on the Philadelphia Phillies 1980 World Series team, but a lot of people don't realize he was also a young middle infielder on the 1974 Oakland A's. So he won 2 World Series, one very early in his career, the other one about mid-career would be the best way to put it. He was an All-Star 4 times, 1977, and then from 1981 to 1983, so he had a 3-year stretch where he was the All-Star. He won 3 Gold Gloves at second base, 2 of those during his All-Star seasons. He won 2 Silver Slugger Awards, also for the Phillies in 1980 and 1981. So he was one that could definitely handle his own, at the plate. Like I said, 17 years in the majors. I mean, that is amazing that he played that long. I remember him more as a Cub because I'm a little bit too young to remember him as a Philly or an Indian, but I'm sure some of the viewers remember him as, all of those. Maybe even somebody might remember him as an Oakland A. But for his career, he had 1,562 hits, had a lifetime 263 batting average, and I just realized, I just looked at his birthday, he was also born on Christmas. I don't know. This is kind of like a Twilight Zone thing or something. I mean, if I open this next one and they were born on Christmas, I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket or something. I don't know if that's luck or just, dumb luck or whatever you want to call it. But also born on December 25th, just like Wallace Johnson. Did not know that until I just pulled his stats page up. He played for the Cincinnati Reds as well. Did not know that. His final season. He only appeared in 17 games for the Reds. Have no idea if there's even a card of him as a Red out there. I didn't know he was a Red. So, anyways, very, very happy to get Manny Trillo's autograph back. A very good player for a long time. Again, like Wallace Johnson, played during the junk ball era. So there are thousands of cards out there that are readily available, and you can get them on the cheap. If you can find these cards for like $a quarter or less, I'd recommend getting them because Manny's a great player to add to your collection. A World Series champ, multiple All-Star games, 17-year Major League career. You can't go wrong with Manny Trillo. All right, so this next one, also postmarked from Florida. And this is somebody that I saw had a success on another channel. So I decided, hey, I've never gotten this guy's autograph, so I decided to write him myself. And that is Don Robinson on 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is another one of those pitchers that is well forgotten for the contributions that he did to the game back in the 80s. This is right up my alley of why I do my channel. Because Don Robinson is one of those people that you want to always remember. Because of his long career. I mean, this is comparable to like Danny Darwin or somebody along those lines. So who is Don Robinson? He was nicknamed the Caveman. I don't know why. He doesn't really look like one. Maybe he had a beard or something when he first came up that made him look a little cavemanish. I don't know. Also went by Donnie for a little while. Goes by Donnie or Don. Pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the San Francisco Giants, the California Angels, and the Philadelphia Phillies. The majority of his career was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was part of the 1979 World Series champion Pirates. He spent 1978 to 1987 with the Pirates before going to the San Francisco Giants, where he would become a staple of their pitching staff from 1987 to 91. He pitched in the 89 World Series, obviously, for the Giants as well. He also finished his career with the California Angels and the Philadelphia Phillies in 1992 before he officially retired from the game. He is very well known as a very good offensive hitter. He actually won 3 Silver Slugger awards throughout his career. He won 1 with the Pirates and 2 with the Giants. He was, that's something that's very commonly overlooked. For his career, he compiled a .231 batting average, which is pretty darn good, with 47 runs and 69 RBIs. That's better than some middle infielders for their career batting averages. So again, Don Robinson, a very commonly overlooked player, was a very good player for a very long time, along with Manny Trillo, who spent 17 years in the majors, and Wallace Johnson, who had a pretty good career as well. All of these players, their cards are very readily available, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So if you get an opportunity to track any of these down, definitely pay attention when you open some of your 80s and 90s junk wax, because these guys definitely will probably most likely be in there. So thanks for taking the time to join me for another episode, and as always, happy collecting.